What's up guys, I have one of the cheapest mini PCs on the market in 2024. This is KAMRUI AK1 Plus. You can buy it for only $149 on Amazon. You know, I have already tested some mini computers on our channel Tech Brothers. They had very good hardware and the price was under $500. I called them gaming mini PCs because you can really play most games on them. The KAMRUI AK1 Plus is definitely not a gaming mini PC, and it is positioned as business, home or office computer. However, I want to try playing some games on it. It is also the first mini PC with the Intel CPU that I have tested. It is powered by 12th generation Alder Lake quad-core N95 processor. I have model with 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of SSD, but there is also a version with 1 TB of SSD. So let's test the KAMRUI AK1 Plus mini computer and find out what it is good for. So the mini PC comes in a very simple cardboard box. It looks like the company decided to save on packaging design to make the mini PC even cheaper. There's a sticker on the back of the box with my computer information, such as model, color, RAM, ROM, and power adapter. Inside the box, there is a computer itself. We will take a closer look at it a little later. Then we have a power adapter, HDMI cable, VESA mount, and a user manual. That's it. You know, I'm glad this mini PC has a VESA mount, because I have tested some other mini computers twice as expensive and they didn't have it. Using the VESA bracket, you can mount the mini PC on the back of your monitor, thus saving space on your desktop. However, you can also just put it on a desk and it will not take up much space either. The dimensions of the KAMRUI AK1 Plus are 127 by 127 by 53 mm. The weight is 435 grams. Compact size is one of the reasons why I prefer mini PCs over full tower computers. As you can see, my computer is black in color, but the box says it is also available in silver and gray. But maybe these colors are for other models. The top panel has a company logo and various stickers. Let's try to remove them carefully. There is another sticker on the side. Now the computer looks very minimalistic. The mini PC has a kind of cap. I think it is for heat dissipation purposes. The KAMRUI AK1 Plus has a built-in cooling fan, and we will check its noise level and temperature a little later. Another design feature of this mini PC is a removable base at the bottom. In fact, you can just take it off if you don't need the external storage. Without it, the computer even more compact, only 37 mm in height. However, this base is very useful for adding a 2.5-inch SSD or HDD drive. If we have started talking about the drives, let's unscrew the main body of the mini PC and take a look inside. I only see a fan here, I cannot even take it off, because it looks like it is glued on. So it will not easy to replace the RAM and SSD here. Now let's put it back together like it was. When it comes to connectivity options, there are quite a lot of them on the sides, such as 2 USB 3.0 ports, USB 2.0 port, DC in power, another USB 2.0 port, 2 HDMI ports, LAN port, and 3.5mm headphone jack. I think that's enough to connect all your devices. So that's all about design. Now we can turn on the computer. I want to check the system boot speed right away. 1, 2, 3, let's go! So the mini PC booted up in almost 13 seconds. As you can see, the KAMRUI AK1 Plus mini PC runs on Windows 11 operating system. By the way, do you remember the stickers on the mini PC that were removed? They reported that it is better to avoid Wi-Fi and LAN connections for faster setup. But when you go online, you will get updates. I think it is better to install them, but it will take some time. Overall, it is a clean Windows 11 operating system without any additional programs. Okay, let's move on to hardware testing. First, the company claims that the KAMRUI AK1 Plus mini PC has only 15 watts power consumption. We can go to the CPU benchmark website and read about the Intel N95 processor. Its typical DTP is really 15 watts. We can also check it out with a special program. As you can see, in standby mode the CPU power is 5 watts. Using CPU-Z program, we can run the stress test to load the processor at 100%. Now the power consumption is 11 watts. However, I played games on this mini PC and the power did increase to 15 watts. By the way, we can also measure the noise level of the mini PC in standby mode and at the maximum CPU load. So it is completely silent in standby mode, 40 decibels. And it is about the same when CPU is maxed out. There is a big advantage of the mini PC. As I said before, the KAMRUI AK1 Plus mini PC is powered by Intel N95 processor with Intel UHD graphics. On the CPU benchmark website, we can see that this is a laptop or a mobile processor. It has a clock speed of 1.7 GHz and turbo speed of 3.4 GHz. The multi-thread rating of this CPU is 5367 cores and a single-thread rating is 1936. My mini PC also has 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of SSD. You know the performance of the computer depends a lot on SSD drive. Let's check the memory speed. So the reading speed is 545 megabit per second and the writing speed is 503 megabit per second. It is pretty slow SSD. And if you want to speed up your computer a bit, you can change the SSD drive for a better one. Since we have started running benchmarks, let's check out the processor and graphics performance. The first benchmark is called Geekbench 6. The KAMRUI AK1 Plus mini PC has 1176 points in a single core test and 2743 points in a multi-core test. In the PC Mark X benchmark, we can see the overall score of a 3034. If we look at this graph, we can see that the performance of our mini PC is much lower than a typical 2023 office laptop. The next benchmark is called Cinebench R23, and the mini computer scores 916 PDS in a single core test and 2432 PDS in a multi-core test. Another benchmark you may be interested in is Passmark. Here we can see overall score, CPU, 2D, 3D, memory, and disk mark. And the last benchmark for today is a 3D mark. The Steel Nomad Lite is recommended to run because it is for the lightweight PCs. It looks like there is some problem with this test here, because there are almost no details. Let's also try to run the time spy test. Here we can see 345 overall score as well as 301 graphic score and 2222 CPU score. As you understand, the KAMRUI AK1 Plus is an entry-level mini PC. However, I want to try playing some games on it. I have downloaded Team Fortress, Dota 2, Counter-Strike 2, and World of Tanks. I also installed a program to see graphics, CPU and memory usage, as well as average FPS. Let's play a little without commentary.
Mission begins in 30 seconds.
Welcome to Dota. I thought as much. Here's ice in your eye. Aren't you nice? Into the breach! Indeed. I'm under attack! Missing middle. Not enough mana. Here I come!
Now is the time. Go together. Left. Here. I did not like this. Only 2 men left. Only 1 left.
In general, all games are playable except Counter-Strike 2. Even at 720p resolution, it is very uncomfortable to play. On the other hand, I couldn't find any mention or pictures about games on the official website or Amazon product page. The company recommends using this mini PC for light office, online education, digital signage, industrial IoT, financial industry, and home theater. Okay, let's try it as an office or home computer. First, I want to run a video on YouTube and see what is the maximum resolution we can watch at. So the video at 4K resolution played without any problems. To be honest, I'm a little surprised. By the way, the KAMRUI AK1 Plus mini PC supports dual-band Wi-Fi, and I can get the maximum internet speed provided by my ISP, 100 megabits per second. I also have 10 tabs open in Google Chrome, and there is no problem with that. You know, I don't think this mini PC is meant for video and photo editing, but let's give it a try. I created a project with 4K video in Adobe Premiere Pro. As you can see, the timeline scrolls without delay. And you can even perform color correction. As for the export speed, 1 minute video in 4K resolution is exported in 1 minute and 44 seconds. But since it is an office computer, we can run some office programs from Microsoft. It already has Microsoft 365 installed with Word, Excel, PowerPoint and other programs. You can use them for your work or study. By the way, the company claims that the mini PC supports a dual-screen display as it has 2 HDMI ports. Let's check it out. Yes, you can connect 2 monitors to the KAMRUI AK1 Plus mini PC. It is very useful for work. But I know you needed to play some video on the second monitor while you work on the main one. So well, I wasn't expecting much from the KAMRUI AK1 Plus, but it has really good performance for its price. The benchmarks results are pretty low, but you can even play some games on it, such as Dota 2 or a World of Tanks. As for office tasks, everything is great here. YouTube videos run in 4K resolution. Even 10 tabs running videos in Google Chrome didn't give this mini PC much trouble. I also like that the mini computer supports connecting 2 monitors. That's very convenient for work and study. I would probably install a better SSD drive in this mini PC, and then it would have better performance. By the way, another feature of this mini PC is a base for quickly adding an SSD or HDD drive. For its price, the KAMRUI AK1 Plus is a decent mini PC. Thank you for watching. See you soon!